Jennie Bond, good morning. The big focus at the moment then is on Harry and Meghan returning to the United Kingdom. Why, and are they coming back? And why is this a big development?
Well, it's a huge development. It took everyone like myself, and I'm immersed in royal stories. I was going to say gossip, but I try to deal with stories. I try to deal with facts, but that's actually quite difficult when facts are very hard to come by. But we all thought that they were happily settled in California. You might remember that Harry and Meghan fled, as they will put it, the United Kingdom back in 2020 because they felt that they'd been treated so badly over here. Harry felt that his family had not shown sufficient respect to his wife, and there were a lot of other allegations. So they left for a life in California because obviously Meghan comes from California, and they seem to be blissfully happy in a beautiful mansion there with something like, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 bathrooms or something ridiculous. Anyway, a lovely way of life. She being a bit of a celebrity, she's an actress, but not acting, but developing other entrepreneurial endeavours on the internet and elsewhere. Harry doing some charity work. And then, blow me down, all of a sudden, out of the blue, they leak a story to a couple of favoured newspapers because they don't like to deal with the media, really. And said, we're coming home. We're coming back to the UK. Our children are already enrolled in a school, which starts, well, the next sort of 10 days. And we're going to be living outside of London in a residence, which is not a royal residence. We don't know where. We suspect the Cotswolds. But all of this is kind of, it's not exactly hearsay, because we know that Harry and Meghan have briefed these stories to a newspaper. But no official statement. So there's a huge vacuum, and we're all jumping in, and we're speculating about all sorts of things, including the question you put and I put: why?
Yeah, speculate away there. So why? I mean, they had this lovely house in Montecito. They seem to be living the Californian dream, and there was even chickens on the estate that they were living on. They were raising their kids there. It all seemed to be very idyllic, and they were away from all the hustle and bustle of the spotlight of court in London. And now suddenly we're coming back.
Yep, the chickens are staying, by the way. They're staying in California, and they're hanging on to Montecito because I think that they will become, I'm speculating, but more of an international couple. So they'll spend probably, I don't know, all the school holidays back in California, maybe term time here. Why? I don't know, is the honest answer. Nobody knows why, because and I think it would have been really helpful if they had issued a statement saying, hey guys, we have decided to come back to the UK for a period of time. I don't know, long term, short term. And this is our reason. These are our plans. But we don't know that. I suspect that it's to do with two spectrums of life, of age. In other words, the children are 7 and 5. That's Archie and Lilibet. And that's an age where you have to think, actually, where are they going to put down roots? Where is their education going to be? And Harry has spoken in the past about how he wanted his children to be educated in the UK, and about his love for this country, even though he fled this country. He said, I've always loved my country. I always have. The second spectrum on the age thing is Charles, King Charles, who is about to be 78. We know he's living with cancer. He's doing very well, apparently. The treatment is almost in abeyance. It's quite infrequent now. But nevertheless, he's an elderly man living with cancer, and I think they think, the years are numbered in which the children can get to know their grandfather. So if you asked me to be a betting woman, I would say that was the root of it. The third little part of that puzzle appears to be that Meghan, an actress, I said, very successful woman, a successful actor, is going to go back into acting, possibly, and may have landed a part with a UK production.
Okay, and there has been some speculation there about whether or not she has landed a role with Guy Ritchie in a the TV series that he does now. And there's some speculation she either has or has not landed a role in The Gentleman, which is his latest creation. Do you think that was hype, or do you think there's something to it?
Welcome to my world. The best source for that is Tina Brown. She's a very, very high-powered journalist and well-connected in sorts of areas, including the royals and entertainment. And that story came from her, that Meghan had landed that role, but that it had then been withdrawn, is what Tina Brown said. I don't know if it's true, but I think that's really sad. Look, we all enjoy doing what we're good at. Meghan is an actor. Even the late Queen, reportedly from Giles Brandreth, and he's very well connected, said that the late Queen had said to Meghan when she joined the royal family, you can carry on acting if you want, because after all, that is your profession. So why are we knocking her now? I get very angry and uptight about this, because she's an independent, successful woman with ambitions to go back to what her career was. Why the hell shouldn't she? So it annoys me very much if that's true, that the sniping and the hideous comments on social media, etc., have made the producers rethink that.
What about, though, the rationale behind the departure in the first place, and the kind of stepping away from the family and saying we don't want to be working royals anymore, we want to be removed from them? There was the interviews with Oprah Winfrey, and there was the book, and there was a lot of sourness really there around that relationship between Harry and his family and his father and his brother. That can't all be forgotten now.
No, but you see, they did want to be working royals. They just wanted to be working royals in a different, and I would say modern way. They wanted to be able to live part of their lives possibly in California. Why not? Her mum lives there, very close to her mum. They wanted to be able to pursue commercial activities to earn their own living. Well, why are we complaining about that? And at the same time, they wanted to represent Queen and country, as it was Queen and country, now King and country, but they wanted to represent the country and go on tours and do stuff that the late Queen Elizabeth wanted them to do. But she saw it differently. She thought, and I think it was a mistake, that there is no half in and half out. Well, I think there can be. And actually, I think Harry and Meghan have just proved that's exactly what they're doing.
And having said that, there are also a few issues that arise with Harry's return. Let's start, though, with the bill that he now owes, along with other celebrities, arising from a case taken against the Daily Mail, which failed. So he's got a substantial tab legally that he's going to have to pay.
Yes, he and 6 other people, including Elton John, sued the Associated Newspapers, the publishers of the Mail and the Mail on Sunday. It's the 3rd big court case Harry has pursued against tabloids, and in the other 2 cases he has had some success. But in this instance, it was a catastrophic failure. Every single one of the almost 100 allegations that the newspaper had gathered information illegally were discounted, thrown out by the judge. And actually, the judge was quite excoriating in his comments. He said, basically, this should never have been brought, and you should have realised halfway through the case that you didn't have a case, but you carried on and on. For 4 years, you carried on. As a result, he is awarding quite punitive costs against the claimants, Harry and the other 6. At the moment, it's 9.4 million they have to pay between them. So it's not just Harry. And they have insurance of 16 million. So nothing at the moment does anyone have to pay. But Associated Newspapers say that their full costs are about 35 million. So there's an outstanding 18 million. We've yet to hear whether that full 18 will be awarded against Harry and the rest of them. If so, he's going to fork up some of that, but not the whole lot. And he's a rich man. Let's not pretend all this, I got cut off by my father, no, he's not giving me a penny. Harry is wealthy. Meghan was and is wealthy. They have wealth beyond anyone else's dreams. So I'm not going to feel sorry for them on that count.
The other issue arising is the security bill and the ongoing row over whether Harry should or should not have security paid for by the British taxpayer, of course. Where does that stand now? Because if he returns full time to the UK, presumably that changes the picture there.
Yeah, this is another long-standing battle that Harry has had. I think quite legitimately, he has said, I am a prime target. There are death threats against me quite constantly. And he's worried for himself, but he's more worried really for Meghan and the children. It's odd because he has said time and again, quite publicly, I cannot foresee a time in which I can safely bring my wife and children back to the UK. And yet he's just done that. Last month, they came back and it was all very secretive. But nevertheless, it is possible. Now, the committee that oversees security for people like Harry, royals and VIPs has been considering having a review of his security for quite some time. But what we're hearing is there's a bit of a backlog, actually, because there are so many living ex-prime ministers that everyone's a bit stretched because they've all got to have security, so there aren't enough security people to go around, basically. However, what we are now hearing is that the review either has taken place or is about to take place, and the likelihood is that Harry will be given proper police security by the Metropolitan Police. Harry has offered to pay for it. I mean, if people say to me, oh, make him pay himself. Well, he offered to pay, but you can't buy the Metropolitan Police. You can't buy armed guards in this country. And he has private security in the States and he brings private security over here, but they cannot carry arms in this country. And his view is that, you know, if there is an attack against him, he really needs armed protection. So the cost is probably going to be about £5 million. I think it probably will be granted. And I think it's entirely correct. I understand that the last time the review was carried out by RAVEC, that's the committee, in 2019, Harry was given the highest level of threat, along with the late Queen and the then Prime Minister. No one else was under such severe threat because he's the king's son, but because he served in Afghanistan. And I can't think that any of that has changed. So I think he's justified in asking for that. But in any case, and paradoxically, Harry appears to have taken the view that actually it's okay as things stand because he is bringing the family in the next couple of weeks back here.
Yeah, and it brings that matter to a head, I suppose, and the British authorities are going to have to confront it. What about, so the kids go to school, Harry returns, we'll wait and see what sort of role he adopts, whether he continues with his kind of media career, which he was seeking to get into. Then with Meghan, as we discussed, the talk of her going back into acting. Is she a more attractive prospect now for TV and movie producers because she is arguably more famous than ever now?
Well, she's got to be, hasn't she? People are going to turn on just to take a look, just to assess her performance, just to see what she looks like. Yeah, so it's got to get clicks at least, and the whole world seems to be about clicks. I suppose some producers could take the view that you are immediately dividing your public, because if there's one thing that Harry and Meghan particularly are, and that is divisive. They just divide opinions. So it's not their fault, I don't think. Well, partly it is because of the things they've said and done, but they just do divide opinion. And I'm a great one as I get older for some kind of unity and harmony, and life is too precious, too short. Just let's have a reboot. You know, your computer goes wrong, turn it off, turn it on again. Can we just try that? It's beyond my wildest hopes that could be the case, but I would hope that might be possible, because it's got to be good for the monarchy and for the family to at least have cordial relationships, if not be best buddies anymore. I'm talking there really about William and Harry.
Yeah, and ultimately she's been out of the acting industry, I suppose, for some time now, so she will be playing off the name. How did all of that associated career that Harry and Meghan were trying to develop in terms of producing documentaries and so on in the United States. How did all that work out in the end? Because it seemed to be the case that there were large contracts with very little output in return.
Yeah, it does seem that way. I mean, I think we can assume that Netflix paid out a lot of money basically to get Harry and Meghan to sign on the dotted line and do their docu-series about their lives. Yeah, I think it was 3 parts, wasn't it? Hugely detailed. Was, I think, one of their best-selling ever documentaries. So I think they kind of paid a premium up front for that. And then there were a couple of other ventures. Meghan had a lifestyle show, which was, actually, of course, it was slammed because it's Meghan, but it was perfectly watchable. It was perfectly all right. I even learned 1 or 2 things. And then there was a documentary about polo, which Harry chose. Maybe not very well advised. I mean, who knows anything about who's actually interested in polo? So that kind of bombed.
Jilly Cooper is interested in polo.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, maybe that it came out at the wrong time. Maybe the rivals. Anyway, few ventures that didn't go so well. I wouldn't say they totally bombed, but Spotify ended the contract that Meghan had there. So not a huge success. I wouldn't claim a total failure, as so many people do, but no, I think perhaps they learned that making TV and radio programs isn't quite as easy as some people imagine.
Yeah,
that's
true. What about going back into the firm? I mean, can you be rehired as a working royal? Is that possible? Is that a potential for Harry?
Anything is possible, but the one thing we're getting, the one note we're getting out of the palace is that nothing has changed. In the half in, half out does not work and is not going to work, and they're not returning. Well, I think the word, and you have to look at these statements very carefully. There are no current plans for them to return as working royals. Gosh, I've been doing this job such a long time that I always remember when anyone when anyone separated, Charles and Diana, Anne and her first husband, whatever, there are no current plans for divorce. And then the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's what Harry and Meghan would want. I think they would still want this half in, half out. Which, as I've said, I think should be perfectly possible in a modern monarchy.
What about then the relationship with William? We know that's been fraught. Is there a prospect then that they see more of each other if they're back in the same country? They do it for the sake of the kids, for the sake of their father. They try to get on, or do you think that's still a bit too frosty?
Yeah, all of the above, really. I mean, Harry says that his father told him at the Duke of Edinburgh's funeral, actually, that he looked at his 2 sons. So Charles looked at his 2 sons and said, "Please, boys, don't make my final years a misery." And that's really what they have been doing. William is a stubborn character. He's a proud and stubborn character, and he's got so much on his plate. He's not only got this enormous job at the moment and looming ahead of him, he's got a young family. He's got a wife who's had a most severe brush with cancer. And he has made no secret of the fact that his priority at the moment is his family. And I don't think he's had it in his heart and his head. I don't think he's had the room to think about the problem of his younger brother. It's going to take a lot for William to, I won't even use the word forgive, but to put up with being next to Harry in a photograph or at Sandringham for Christmas. And what does the king do? Does he ask one son, neither son, both sons? Very awkward. I think William would decide at Christmas it's a very good year to spend it with his in-laws, which he hasn't done for quite some time. But you are right. There are going to be occasions when you would expect the 2 boys, men, I don't know why I call them boys, they're men now in their 40s, to be in the same room and in the same photo at the same event. And it's going to be increasingly awkward if the relations are, as frosty is a very kind word, ice cold as they are at the moment. So I say never. It is possible. Families are complicated. It'll probably get messy. But my hope is that William will find it in his heart to find a way of working alongside or with or occasionally see his brother. And for the children, as you say, I mean, these are small kids. I mean, how long can you say to your children, oh, yes, I know you know about Uncle Harry, but we're not seeing him. Don't look at Harry if he's there. No, I know you've got cousins, first cousins, but you mustn't talk to them. I don't see how that's actually tenable in the long run.
Yeah, and ultimately he's not Grand Uncle Andrew either. So at the same time, you got to point that out. Look, the British royal family, they're for an outsider, they're the original reality TV family. It's all about the drama and who's associated with who and so on and so forth. Harry and Meghan are box office in their own right. Does this not add to the appeal of people following the royal family that bit more closely to see how all this chapter develops?
Well, yes, the interest, particularly the media interest, is absolutely massive in Harry and Meghan. And it does matter. Look, I reported all through the 90s, and that's when we first started calling the royal family a soap opera. And because of the War of the Waleses and everything else to do with Diana. And we are kind of back there again. So, yes, there's going to be headlines everywhere, as far as I can see, for the next few months about Harry and Meghan and the royal family, but not the kind of headlines that the rest of the royal family would want.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, it is a helpful distraction for other problems that they've had in the last year or two, and that's around Andrew. So does this put the spotlight away from him and very much back on the core family of the king, the future king, and their immediate family?
Well, Andrew has kind of been parked. He's parked up at Sandringham, where he's more or less living in exile. And until there are more revelations or allegations to do with Epstein, I think, that's kind of just off in one corner. He doesn't get invited to anything. He's not at Balmoral, where the rest of the royal family are at the moment. He won't be, I don't imagine, for a moment at Sandringham, well, with the rest of the royal family for Christmas. But you talk about distraction. The problem is that the Harry and Meghan saga is a distraction from the work that the rest of the royals are doing. So if Harry and Meghan are out doing something or release some kind of statement or briefing, that is going to be the headlines, and not the fact that William or the Queen or the King have been at some kind of charity event. And that's the problem.
Yeah, and therein lies the issue, because William's future, we know what that is. I mean, ultimately, at some point, he will replace his father as the King of England. Obviously, the health concerns that have been there in recent years have led some speculation about, well, is it possible that could happen a lot sooner? So William needs to continue to build his own profile, his own preparedness to become king. And now we've got this sideshow of his younger kid, rebellious brother back on the scene. Yeah.
And it is a sideshow that's very unwelcome to him. Yes, William is concentrating very much on the core issues he has decided to champion, the environment, mental health, things like this. And he works very hard at those. And he also has given, as he's made clear, quite a lot of thought to how he wants to be king. And I think he encapsulated it in a short statement saying that he wanted to do royal with a small r. And I think that speaks volumes about how he is. I think things will change a bit. His eyes are firmly focused on the future. And this is a distraction, a domestic distraction that he doesn't need, doesn't want. And I think the only way to settle it, as I say, is to find some way to find, yes, forgiveness in his heart somewhere. And it would help if Harry, and he's quite hot-headed as well, it would help if Harry said, even just privately, look, I'm really sorry. I said some things that were quite harsh. I believed them. Perhaps I still believe them, but I think they were harsh. Just an apology would be great. And I think maybe the palace could acknowledge that they could have done better as well. Perhaps they didn't do everything they could have to identify the problems that Meghan and Harry felt they were having as part of the firm. So a little bit of humility on both sides might go a long way. Will it happen? Probably not.
Okay. The latest episode of The Royal Family continues. Jennie Bond, thank you very much for joining us with all those updates.
Pleasure.